Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Japan and we're going to return to one of the best known craft breweries from here. So we're going to go to Tamamura Honten once again and have a look at another beer from their Shiga Kogen beer range. And this is quite a special one. This is the number 10 Anniversary IPA and this beer is rated very, very highly. 99 overall on Rate Beer and also 99 within the style, so it should be pretty damn good actually. You don't get that rating on Rate Beer for nothing. It's always a good barometer of how good your beer is going to be, and this is the best rated one that I'm trying from Japan so far, so it should be pretty awesome. This was another beer of course that I bought from Asahiya, a nice little beer shop here in Taishibashi Yamaichi in northeastern Osaka, so if you find yourself over here make sure you go and check it out. Koji has a really nice store with a lot of good Japanese beers and some foreign things too, so make sure you check out the link to his Facebook page in the description below. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Shiga Kogen beer before. There's all the usual social media, so make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. If you want to see my other Japanese beer reviews I've done, search Japan in the search bar on the channel. And as always, to those of you watching in Japan, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other Japanese beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me look at. There's a lot of them here, but of course the language is a little bit of a barrier at the moment, so do let me know the other beers and breweries you guys want to see reviewed. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Tamamura Honten and Shiga Kogen beer. So as I've told you before, Tamamura Honten are based in Yamanouchi in Nagano Prefecture in Japan. This is a few hundred kilometers to the northwest of Tokyo, and this area of course is very well known for its ski slopes and for its hot springs as well. Tamamura Honten of course are the parent company, and these guys began brewing sake back in 1805, but they also recently began brewing beer under the name Shiga Kogen beer, and they also produce some wine as well. But the head brewer is Sato Eigo, and he joined the company in 2003, and the idea to brew beer came when the number of skiers that were visiting the resort began to dwindle, so they wanted to increase their customer base, so they thought why not brew some beer. So in May 2004 they applied for their brewing license and they received it 4 months later, and they bought their brewing equipment and trained for only a week at another brewery in Kyushu before they started their own commercial activities, and they only had a consultant for help. So from going from such kind of humble beginnings, if you like, it's really quite impressive how far these guys have come, and they are one of the best rated and most decorated craft breweries here in Japan. But what's interesting about Tamamura Honten is that they also produce their own hops, sake rice, barley, buckwheat and blueberries, and they actually have their own hop variety called Shinzuwazi, which is a hybrid between Czech Sats and also a local variety of hop as well. And they originally used it as a bittering hop for lagers, but now they use it as an aroma hop as well. And the brewery also has 2 tasting rooms, which are known as tepper rooms here in Japan. One of these is at the brewery and the other one is at the Shiga Kogen Ichinose Hotel's Chalet Shiga, so you can go and stay there if you fancy doing some skiing in Japan, and it's a very, very beautiful region. Nagano Prefecture is one of the most kind of well-known beauty spots of Japan actually, although there's many of those. If you come here, Japan is a very beautiful country. The cities of course are very, very different. So yeah, there's a lot of good beers from these guys. The artwork on the bottle is by Tanaka Noriyuki, and go and check out the brewery website and you can read more about the other things you can get from these guys. They do have a regular range and they also produce some seasonals and some one-off brews as well, and this one was actually introduced maybe a year or 2 ago, but it proved to be very popular, so they continue to do it. So yeah, that's enough about the brewery just now. We'll get on to the tasting of this one. This one comes in at 7.5%. As I say, it was introduced maybe a year or so ago. I'm filming this review for you in June 2016. It said on Rate Beer that it was added in 2015, and this beer proved very popular, so they continued to brew it. So let's actually get on to the tasting of this guy itself. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. It has the typical Tamamura Honten dragon on it there. You can see number 10 Anniversary IPA, and you can see all the katakana, kanji and hiragana on the bottom there, and there's also the contact details on the bottom of the bottle for Shiga Kogen Tamamura Honten. It tells you a little bit on the side as well about the alcohol content, 7.5%, 330 milliliter bottle, and there you can see the typical blue Tamamura Honten bottle cap. All of them have blue bottle caps, incidentally. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. There we are. So let's get this guy out and into the glass. I'm really wondering with this beer if it's going to be similar to the other really good IPAs that I've reviewed for you before, the likes of the Pipeworks Ninja vs Unicorn or the Amor Batch 1000. Those are the two best IPAs I've ever reviewed on the channel, and this one seems to be really, really highly rated on Rate Beer, so I'm very interested to see how this guy turns out. On the first open you can smell a really kind of biscuity malt base and some kind of grassy and slightly earthy hops coming out of this one. But as you can see, it's poured a bright yellow golden colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head in this one, and I'm still getting those kind of biscuity notes off this one. It smells really nice. There's quite a hazy element to it. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see there is an element of transparency, but overall it is actually quite opaque. There's a good little bit of small sediment particles floating around in this one, big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head. The head is a finger, and I'd say it's actually a brilliant white head. It looks really nice, and now that I'm getting closer to it, you can really start to smell some of the fruity characters in this. It smells very nice actually. There's a nice sort of peachy aroma coming out. There's definitely mango in there. It's quite a tropical note you're getting off this actually. It's not grapefruity, although there might be a little bit of that. For me it's passion fruit. There's a bit of mango in there definitely, and I want to say there is a little bit of peach, but really it's the passion fruit and the kind of mango-y notes that are coming off this one for me, which is really interesting. It didn't say what hops were actually used in this beer, which would have been interesting to know, but I'd guess there's maybe some Simcoe in there, just going by the notes, probably some Citra as well, judging by the mango, and there's maybe a little bit of these sort of lychee notes. You can always pick up these kind of slightly lemony things when you use Citra, and it definitely has a little note of Citra in there. I think Simcoe's in there as well. But there's a bit of, when you sugar it up a bit more, you start to get a bit of an oily orange, so maybe there's some Amarillo in there as well. But underneath that you can pick up a good bit of floral aromaticity. Maybe a little bit piney too, but not really. The aroma leans far more towards the fruity side of things. But definitely a bit floral, some grassy notes as well. And you can smell some kind of slightly caramel, sort of brown sugary notes, a bit of biscuit as well, and maybe some bread. But you can get some of these nice grassy and floral notes underneath that fruit, especially when you sugar it up. There's definitely a biscuity, caramel, bready thing going on in this beer. But yeah, very fruity, as I say, passion fruits, bit of mango, some of those other typical esters, peaches and things like that, maybe lychees that you get from the Citra hop. I think there's definitely some Citra in there, but it smells very nice, so just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you actually get stuck into it. So this one is the number 10 Anniversary IPA from Tamamura Honten's Shiga Kogen range. Let's get stuck into this guy. Kampai. Oh yeah. Now, on first taste, you can see why this beer is so highly rated. It's very, very obvious. It's really, really nicely done. There's no two doubts about that. So let's just get straight to the point. This is a very, very good beer. Yeah, that's a really, really well done beer. That I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. And when you taste this one, you can see why they've kept doing this one. A bit like Amor did with their Batch 1000. I can see why this is such a popular beer. It's very like some of the American IPAs, and to be honest, that's a little bit hard to come by when it comes to Japanese craft beers. They always have just a little bit of difference to them, I would say. That could well be the best beer I've reviewed from Japan so far in the lighter category. The Mino Imperial Stout, of course, is probably the best dark beer I've reviewed, but that is really, really nice. There's no two doubts about that. So let's have a look at this more closely. Yeah, this is really good actually. It starts off a little bit bitter, but also the fruity, oily characters are there. Then it just kind of dries out a little bit it becomes really sweet in the middle of the palate, and then you start to get the more bitter notes coming out just as it really starts to progress into the aftertaste. This is a beautiful beer. So in the middle of the palate, you're just kind of blanketed with this sort of bready character that goes right across the middle of your palate there. It begins to sweeten up a little bit. You get the biscuity elements to it, and the caramel starts to come out, and then it starts to move more towards that bitter flavour, like I was saying. Right in the middle of the tongue, you're getting the caramel. As you move out a little bit, you're getting more of the biscuity kind of grainy things, and you can feel that bready underlining that this beer has. In the very back corners of the palate, maybe there's a tiny little bit of earthiness, but it's actually quite piney, this one, I would say. There's a lot of pine resin coming in this beer, and also a little bit of that darker floral aromatic character. Actually, you can really pick that up in the flavour in this one. The aromatic character and the pine resins are sitting at the back of the palate, and as you come further forward, it just gets gradually a little bit more floral. You can just pick that up in this one. And then around the very front curve of the palate, it's definitely a little bit smoother and a little bit more grassy, and it's really nicely done. And the fruity character, of course, is really quite interesting. Yeah, just behind the front curve of the tongue, like I was saying, you can get that little oily bubble where those fruity esters always come out. It's really nice. Initially, it's quite tropical. There is a little bit of grapefruit in there, I would say, but mainly it's more passion fruit. The grapefruit, of course, has that kind of characteristic, almost sour character to it, actually. And you can really pick that up in this beer, just underpinning it. But really, for me, it leans more towards the kind of sweeter passion fruit and things like that. There is an element of this kind of citra fruits as well, a little bit of the mango, the sort, not quite peachy, I would say, in terms of the flavour, maybe more like kind of lychees or something like that. You can pick up those nice juicy things in there. And later on, I'm getting a little bit of a kind of citrusy orange character. I do wonder if there's a little bit of Amarillo in here, but I mean, overall, the main point to take away from the fruitiness of this beer is that it's really, really nice. This is a top quality beer, probably the best one I've reviewed from Japan so far. Like I say, very, very well done. Yeah, that's nice. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say it's mid-bodied. Definitely a kind of mid-bodied beer, actually. It's got a nice kind of sessionable quality to it, I would say. That doesn't want to stand up, but it's got a nice kind of sessionable quality to it. Definitely a sort of and a little bit of oily feel. It's got a nice kind of mineral content to it as well. There's a little bit of a prickle from the carbonation, but not too much. It's got a good hoppy bitterness, so that lingers into the aftertaste. There's also a little bit of malty sweetness and some juicy fruity character as well. But the main point to take away from this beer review is that this is a really, really good beer. Probably one of the best IPAs you're going to find in Japan. It certainly deserves its rating of 99 on Rate Beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Do check out this beer from Tamamura Honten Shiga Kogen if you get the chance. I think, as I say, it's still in production, and I can see why they left it in production, because obviously it's popular for a reason, and it's a very, very good beer. So if you enjoy things like Amore's Batch 1000, if you enjoy an IPA that has a nice piney base to it and also some juicy fruity character and a little bit of malty sweetness, you certainly will enjoy this one. This is a very, very well balanced IPA, and I would go as far as saying that this is one of the best 3 IPAs I've reviewed on the channel for you, along with the Pipeworks Ninja versus Unicorn and the Amore Batch 1000. Those are the other 2 really good ones, and I'd rate this one as highly as that. It is different. It's a little bit more fruity, I would say. The fruity character is different, and it's a little bit more juicy, whereas the other ones are kind of bigger, bitter, hoppy things. This one is a little bit more balanced than the other 2, so it's a bit quirky. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you go and check out Asahiya in Taishibashi Yamaichi in Osaka. Make sure you go and try some of the Tamamura Honten Shiga Kogen beers if you haven't already. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know your favourite beers from this brewery as well. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media things, and do let me know some other Japanese beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me check out. And make sure you check out my other Japanese beer reviews as well. Until the next time, kanpai and slange just now. Cheers.